Hi, this is Callan Bentley. Welcome back for another Smart Figure. After watching this video, you should be able to describe what sorting and rounding are when it comes to sedimentary deposits, and describe how they come to look that way. Let's begin our discussion here with a look at a mountain stream. This mountain stream is transporting sediment. The particles start off up here in the mountains as very angular shapes, and then they are transported downstream, and they attain progressively rounder and rounder shapes the further they travel. Sometimes big deposits of sediment may have lots of different particle sizes, and sometimes they may have all the same particle size. So let's begin with this concept of sorting. Sorting basically is how well the different sedimentary grains in a deposit or a sedimentary rock match one another in size. Very well sorted sedimentary rocks tend to have grains that basically are the same size as one another. Very poorly sorted sedimentary rocks tend to have some grains that are really big and some grains that are medium-sized and some grains that are really small, so they don't match each other very well. An example of a well-sorted sedimentary rock is a sandstone. So this sandstone is basically made out of sand and not much else. And if you look at the individual grains in the close-up view, you can see they're all about the same size. None is bigger than, say, 10 times the size of any other one. Now, if you compare that to this conglomerate, the conglomerate is very poorly sorted. There's some really big grains, but then there are very, very tiny little grains in there as well. And the biggest grains in the sample are about 1,000 times larger than the smallest grains. So there's a huge disparity. Next, let's examine the concept of angularity or rounding. And we also have the concept of sphericity indicated here. Basically, the upper row are grains that have a high sphericity, meaning that they'll fit inside a sphere with very little leftover volume. And the lower row here has a low sphericity, meaning that if you stuck that grain inside a sphere, there'd be a lot of leftover volume. But the first column basically shows angular grains. Regardless of their sphericity, both of those grains end up having sharp little points that come off of them. And as we travel over towards the right, we see the grains get increasingly rounded. So by the time we get to the very right, there's no little sharp points that are poking off the edge of those grains. So rounding in general basically correlates with distance of transport. Angular grains are close to their source. Rounded grains have come a great distance away from their source. Let's keep those lessons in mind now as we examine this sample of the rock called breccia. This breccia is both poorly sorted and it has very angular grains. Which of the different sedimentary environments we examined in another Smart Figure video would be the most likely choice for where a breccia would get deposited? Because of the angular grains, it's got to be close to its source, and because of the poor sorting, it probably had to be dumped all at once without having the smaller grains winnowed out from the larger grains. Okay, so hopefully your choice is the same choice as I made, and that is the landslide. Landslides move a lot of rock very quickly. They don't have time to round the grains, and all the sediment is basically deposited in one fell swoop. So it gets dumped, and then it doesn't get resorted after that. Good job. Hope you got that correct. Thanks a lot for your attention. This has been another Smart Figure.